first thing I'd like to do is welcome everybody here. Thank you very much for coming out here. We're having this press conference in the middle of the off-campus area because it's very relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. I'm Deputy Chief Jennifer Knight. I am in charge of the area of this off-campus area and Patrol North Subdivision. And I'm going to talk to you today about safety in this area. I'd like to thank OSU leadership and OSU safety for being here. We also have our community liaison officer for the area, Mark Howenstein, here, and some of the officers that work this area every day. I'm going to start out by just telling you that the city's experienced an increase in violent crime in several neighborhoods, including the university area. The division typically responds to these crime trends by shifting police resources and combats these trends through increased visibility and by actually placing officers in areas where they're able to respond quickly and identify or apprehend perpetrators. We've seen a recent trend in this area, which is Zone 4, or the University District, that shows a 51% increase in aggravated assaults, robberies to individuals, and residential burglaries over numbers that we had during the same 6-month period in 2019. In July and August alone, we've seen an increase of over 100% in these crimes over the time in 2019. And so that's very concerning for us. It's very concerning for the individuals that work, live, and go to school in this area. The Division of Police responds to these trends, and we know that an increase in police resources has an impact on criminal activity in any given area. What I'm doing today is I'm letting students, residents, parents, and offenders know we're going to be shifting resources into this area to respond to these violent crime trends. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing from Columbus Division of Police. We're going to be utilizing a combination of on-duty and overtime resources and increasing uniformed patrols and plainclothes officers in this area. Beginning immediately, we are more than doubling our resources in the campus area, adding additional bike units and staffing a joint OSU CPD overtime crime interdiction unit paid for through university resources. Personnel will be assigned to sectors. They will be looking for suspicious activity and responding quickly to any reports of crime. We've assigned lead robbery detectives focused on identifying suspects and solving these crimes, and they're already focused on the ones that have already occurred. We also have assigned crime analysts that will be tracking evolving patterns and identifying possible suspects, providing support for a data-driven police response. We're going to be looking at those numbers every single day and making adjustments. During certain hours, we're also going to be placing a mobile substation on High Street near the Student Union to increase visibility and to be used as a command post for these joint operations. This is a response we do in other parts of the city as well when we see crime trends, an increase in violence. But this is what we're going to do here, and we started last weekend. Residents should have already seen an increased police presence. We're going to be working closely with OSU partners to marshal available resources, but we do not solve this problem without the active participation of students and residents living in this area. This has to be a collaborative effort. We need students to remain aware, and we need them to call if they see suspicious activity. We have to have an opportunity to respond. If you're a victim of crime, report it immediately to Columbus Police. We can't investigate what you don't report. Your response actually may save someone else from being a victim in the future. So right now I'd like to introduce a Senior Vice President of Administration and Planning for OSU, Mr. Jay Casey.
Good afternoon. I'm Jay Casey. I have some responsibility for the activity on both campus and some of the resources we use in our off-campus neighborhoods. I want to say that the most important thing for Ohio State, for our students, for our parents, for our faculty and staff is always safety and the support of our students to be safe members both on campus and in this community. Our leadership team has been engaged with the City of Columbus and working 24/7 to address neighborhood issues, including crime, in a partnership with the city and the Columbus Police Department. Last week, President Johnson and I met with Columbus Police Chief Bryant to reinforce our CPD partnership and our appreciation for the work of the CPD. Crime incidents are occurring in our off-campus neighborhoods, and we must work together with Columbus Police to combat these crimes. Ohio State is committed to supporting our off-campus neighborhoods and pursuing solutions that enhance safety for everyone. Our campus is in the heart of a large, growing city, and unfortunately, crime occurs in these situations. Public safety is multifaceted, though, and police alone cannot solve this problem. The President called together a task force on safety and well-being last year and asked us to bring ideas and solutions to our neighborhoods. We have implemented, or partially implemented at least, 13 of the 15 recommendations from that task force. These have included more non-sworn safety patrols, security patrols, in addition to community crime patrol in this neighborhood. We've expanded the ride-sharing program and hours for our students. We have both surveyed and improved lighting across all these blocks of our campus neighborhoods. We've added surveillance cameras which can be monitored remotely by both our monitoring center on campus and the city's monitoring center. And we've even hired social work to work in our off-campus neighborhoods to help those who have social needs. However, in order for these safety initiatives to succeed, we all have to work together. The university, city, property owners, students, and visitors all have a role to play, and that's why we're here today, because we want to work together to find that role. I'm now going to introduce to you Commander Dennis Jeffrey. Commander Jeffrey is responsible for the University District. He's our immediate go-to on the police department. And I just want to say that over the last year and a half or so, Commander Jeffrey has been a huge proponent and advocate for the university and for our students. During COVID and during these crime situations, we've always called on Commander Jeffrey, and he's been a great partner to us. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Casey. I appreciate that. As mentioned, my name is Dennis Jeffrey. I'm the Zone 4 Commander. And really part of my job is to work hand in hand with Ohio State. And even before the uptick in the current crime, we had almost daily conversations with Ohio State. Obviously, they're a huge partner. This is a very busy area. A lot of people live here, so it's always incumbent that we share information. And, you know, as mentioned, resources, we have to allocate those appropriately where we think they're best suited. So Mr. Casey mentioned the lighting and the cameras. So we talk weekly about where's the best place for those, because we want to put them where they're going to do the most good. So that's a constant conversation we're having almost daily. I talk Chief Spears McNatt almost daily, and we're always trying to get better. And that's really our goal. How do we improve the situation in the campus area? As you know, it's an extremely diverse area. And Zone 4 not only has the university area, we have Linden, we have Clintonville. So it's a big zone with a lot of different resources. So we're, like Chief Knight said, we're really trying to bring those resources in this area so we can try to eliminate some of the crime that we've seen. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Chief Kimberly Spears McNatt, Chief of Police for The Ohio State University.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. I am Kimberly Spears McNatt, and I serve as the Chief of Police for The Ohio State University Police Division. I first want to thank all the students, parents, and community members that are working together to enhance safety. Not only am I just the Chief of Police, but I'm also a mom. And so when we hear these calls or concerns that come in from parents, I understand and also share those same concerns. I also recognize that police cannot be the only solution and that safety means different things to different people. However, in order for us to be successful, we must all work together as a university, the city, property owners, residents, and visitors. Oftentimes, I have the opportunity to meet with many students to hear their concerns, for them to share their different viewpoints and their perspectives. Some of the resources that we've been able to share with our officers and students to share is that some of those safety resources that we have available for them to use, such as our free self-defense classes, our Rave Guardian app, which allows them to have someone follow them virtually as they're walking back and forth to campus. This is really important. Our partnership with the City of Columbus is critical. It's important since our campus and our university is within the city. It's important that we continue to work together to solve these issues as they are being addressed in the community. We have been working with Columbus Police Division daily to address these issues that's been occurring off campus. As DC Jennifer Knight has shared, the Columbus Police Division has committed to adding additional officers. OSU PD is also committed to the same initiative that we are requiring our officers to also work crime addiction, and we are mandating officers to address these issues that's concerning off campus. We're also adding non-sworn security patrols. This occurred past weekend. This is part of a long-term solution that we're looking towards. This past weekend, we added additional lighting for towers to light pathways for our students while they're walking off campus. And we also received a grant from the state of Ohio to purchase additional cameras for off campus. We understand that this is a concern from everyone, and our university senior leadership is equally concerned about the safety for our students, not only on campus, but off campus. We have been encouraging our students when they're out and about to make sure that they are walking in groups, paying attention to their surroundings, removing their earbuds, but this is just the first of the beginning of the things that we're doing to keep our officers, not only our officers safe, but our students. It's critical that we continue to have this partnership with Columbus Police Division as we work together to reduce the crimes that are occurring in the off-campus neighborhood. Finally, not only do I want to thank OSU PD officers, I want to thank CPD and also our non-sworn security, who are all working together to address these trends and crimes that we see occurring. I think a good example of this is our crime interdiction that we've been talking about, that you see this joint patrol from OSU PD and CPD in the off-campus neighborhoods. This collaboration allows us not only to share information about crime trends, but also provide additional resources for our students who are on campus when these crimes occur. The partnership that we have with CPD is critical because we do have students who are living off campus within our city. Thank you. At this time, we will open it up for any questions.
So a police department always has limited resources, and it always seems like we never have enough. And yes, we've seen a lot of retirements and resignations this year, but in a patrol environment, we actually use patrol resources like that very frequently. We shift resources based on crime trends that we talk about every single week. So this is not something that we haven't done in the past or we don't do regularly. We're seeing that increase here. We're recognizing that increase, and we sat down and we talked about what resources we have available, where can we move them, and how can we deploy those resources most effectively. We do this all the time. Even if we have limited resources, we have the ability to respond to crime trends. And so we're going to be able to do that here. These are not permanent resources. Permanent resources are something that we have to continue to advocate for, is increasing our staffing and things like that. And right now, with rising crime rates in several parts of the city, it is a challenge. But we are going to be able to do that on a temporary basis, get this area under control, make sure people feel safe, and then we will continue to evaluate where those statistics are. I think this area is experiencing what we're experiencing in other parts of the city is basically a belief that lawlessness is going to be accepted. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to be. The police department's not going to accept it. The residents aren't going to accept it. People that live and work here are not going to accept it. I think that this area is no different than some of the other areas that we're experiencing that kind of behavior. What we need to do is we need to focus and we need to make sure that we're operating in collaboration with the residents, city government, the police departments, and any resource that will help us. I think that this is a trend. I'm hoping it doesn't continue, but we absolutely need to address it now. And I'm here to tell those individuals that are victimizing the students out here, we will have a police officer right around the corner. We will catch you, we will arrest you, and we will prosecute you. Any additional questions? We kind of break the city up into 5 zones, so each zone has seen an increase. We talk about heat spots, heat maps with an inverted T, so we see some of that increase along the 71 corridor up near Linden on the west side, on the near east side. It's kind of an inverted T where we have hot spots, and those change over time, but right now we're seeing increases in those areas, and we are responding with resources. Any additional questions? So the Columbus Division of Police, we change how we're deploying our resources based on those crime trends. They do not need to have a fund to be able to pay for that. OSU and the Columbus Division of Police have had this partnership in place for years, and this is to put additional resources on the street in these areas where when students come back for the year in the fall. And we use that money to supplement those resources. We've been doing it for years. It's very effective, but those individuals in Linden and those individuals on the Near East Side can know that we absolutely as well. Any additional questions? Oh, absolutely.
You mentioned the state grant funding going towards additional cameras in the area. What else is that funding going to go towards?
So right now, as you just heard, we just received the funded grant. We're looking for utilizing the information for additional cameras. Right now, that's the focus where we would like to see that money go for the grant.
How does the university plan to balance this increased police presence with some students on campus, particularly those of color, who have expressed feeling unsafe around officers because of reports of police brutality? How is this going to happen?
And so that's a very good question. As I mentioned earlier, I often have the opportunity to meet with many students and hear their concerns, mentioning that safety means different things to different people. And so as I share that law enforcement can't be the only answer, we're providing additional light towers. We also have non-sworn security helping with this initiative. And so helping the students understand that we're taking a holistic approach of trying to solve this problem to keep all our Buckeyes safe on and off campus. I think everyone has seen the neighborhood safety notices that go out. We heard the calls from our students, we heard the calls from parents, and I just would like to reiterate, like when those notices goes out, those are just not numbers. Those are students who have been impacted. Those are family members who have been impacted. These are students' college experience, and so we do, as university leadership and across the board of the university, we do take these serious, and we do want the students to have a good college experience. And so for our students who may have a different perspective about law enforcement, we have not dismissed their concerns as well. Any other questions? Thank you.